Have you found your voice? That voice that's heard in the wilderness that won't let you sleep. That voice that makes you search for more peace. That voice is a soft, gentle breeze flowing through your mind with ease. It brings about joy and freedom, making room from within for what you're walking in. Meet Tiffany.
Story time. So, when I was first introduced to DestinyLove, I was already successful in my business, dealing with celebrity clientele in my hair profession of 20 plus years, singing in the choir in a mega church, and all was well, so I thought. But I was kind of flowing in the rhythms of I don't look like what I've been through. So, from the age of maybe 3 or 4, being molested. Thank God he kept it, not so many details, but just a snippet. I had a snippet that something had happened to me. And I just kind of put it in the back of my mind, just that snippet, didn't understand why it was there or what purpose that it served until I walked into Destiny's life. I stepped into a healing that I didn't necessarily think or thought that I needed. Just from relationships, not working out, trying to figure out what was what, who was I, and how do I fit into this new lifestyle that I had come into. From so many childhood traumas to 5 different name changes, to sexually assaulted, to molested at a very young age, and becoming very promiscuous in my teenage and a young adult life, and not understanding where that comes from, because a lot of times it puts a stigma on you and you feel like, oh, I'm different, or oh, why am I this way, not knowing that a lot of times, well, not all, a lot of times, all the times, it is connected to childhood trauma. Let me tell you about my childhood trauma. From missing so much of school, from 1st grade on, to having my name changed 5 different times, up to 7th or 8th grade, to just being severely abused as a child by my mom, who I believe suffered from mental illness, and abandonment issues herself. You know, from her mom abandoning her, spending 8 months in McLaren Hall at the age of 11, to being in foster homes. I think it was maybe about 3 or 4 foster homes within a 2-year span. Just so many childhood traumas that I knew were different. I know other people weren't experiencing those things, but somehow it became my normal. So it became my normal, and this is how I function. Or people would say, girl, you know, you crazy, or things like that. And you kind of take it off as, you know, you know, I'm Tiffany and I'm full of this and I'm full of that. But no, there was an issue. I needed to be healed, and I didn't know that it existed. I knew God loved me, and I knew God saved me, but I didn't know the aspects and the details of personal inner healing, to go in and fix all the things that are wrong and all the things that the enemy set up to destroy me.
I'd rather walk in the light with a friend than alone in the dark. Secrets held between 2 friends. You keep deep within. Don't tell everything, my dad would always say. Just listen, and God will show you the way. Don't know him? He's a friend indeed. He most definitely will fulfill all of your needs. Shh. Listen. It's still story time.
So experiencing the things that I experienced as a child of drug paraphernalia, I can pretty much tell you how to use any kind of drug up under the sun. My mom and her significant other doing whatever they were doing. It was like, oh, the neighborhood guys in the area, you know, look out after my daughter, you know, make sure she's okay. Not knowing that they were, or maybe knowing my mom's significant other, that they were gang members, and you know, look out for her. So that kind of shifted me into gang activities, and dealing with those kind of guys, because that's what I was accustomed to as a child, you know. So at the age of I would say 14, started running with a gang, and there were drug sales. I had been shot at a couple of times, and just being involved in fights, and just mayhem and destruction on the whole community, but just looking for a family, so to speak. But that led me into being severely beaten at 16 years old. I ran away from home, and I was about 16, and some things happened. One of the guys didn't like it, and he severely beat me. 2 black eyes. My eyes were swollen shut. My lips were protruding out to God knows where. And so that took me out of that lifestyle that God spared me with my life. So after being severely beat like that, you'd think that that would put a stop to everything and get me on the straight and narrow, but it didn't. I continued on for a few more years with destructive behaviors. So by time the next 4 to 5 years, just, you know, kind of trying to find myself, trying to find a career, not finishing school. What type of career would I have? So by 22, I went to cosmetology school to become a hairstylist. And I ended up working in one of the biggest beauty salons for entertainment industry, and built up my clientele fairly quick and well. Then I met my husband. We were married for some years, had my son, Jalen. And our marriage was okay. But oddly enough, it's funny that I had my childhood traumas from my mom, and he had childhood traumas from his dad, and which he told me about it, but I wasn't listening. And so that's how I know that spirits connect. You're only comfortable with what your spirit soul or your spirit person is connected to someone else. So having my son really let me know how much God loved me. Just the way my son came about. To this day, my ex-husband wouldn't be able to tell you the same story that he told me of an angel visiting him to tell him that we were having a child. And my son came. I had absolutely no idea what to do because of the way that I was raised. So we had joined our church the previous year to him being born, and I just immersed myself and my son into the church. I became more active, so he would then be active, and just kind of stay on this steady path of greatness, of going to school and being educated and going off to college one day. I had a good idea that the church was the place for me to be, for God to lead me and guide me on how to raise a successful child and not make the same mistakes that were made with me and not drop the ball. So now I'm divorced, single mom, but I kept getting these visitations from my childhood, from the time I could remember. I kept getting visits from something that I didn't understand what it was. And I go to an event, and a woman that didn't know me from anywhere talks to me in my ear and tells me some things and says, "It's not your fault," and laid out everything that had happened to me. And I'm like, well, how could she know everything that happened to me? I haven't told anybody. It's my secret. It's my shame. It's my dark place that you don't need to know about, because I'm gonna fix myself up and got my hair going and my makeup, and you'll never ever know. But when God wants you, And when God wants to heal you and know that you need to be healed, he'll come get you. To where I found myself literally crawling on the ground, gripping the carpet to get away. But he wouldn't let me go. And he just said, I love you. I saved you. None of this was your fault. And at that moment, it started to come off. Just a little layer at a time, little by little. It's okay. It's okay. Wasn't your fault. Start to let it go. Start to release it. And that's exactly what I did. I started to release it and know that it's okay to tell my story and to not be ashamed of it. Or people will judge me, or people will look at me a certain way because I didn't grow up the way that they grew up, or I didn't experience the things that they did, or they had experienced some things that I didn't.
Can you keep a secret when someone lets go and shares from within? Can you? Would you still be their friend, or would you judge them?
Well, that's letting go. Episodes 1 through 8 speak for themselves. I hope you learned something. I hope that you were encouraged, and I most certainly hope that you felt the love. As I brought my book right off the pages straight to you. This is the last episode for season 1. Meet us in the fall for season 2. Enjoy your summer. And thank you so much for watching. This is DestinyLove TV. We'll see you next time.